Hello and welcome to the Sun Racing preview with Betway. Today we're going to look ahead to a big weekend of racing. It's obviously St Leger up at Doncaster and also the first day of Irish Champions weekend up at Leopardstown. I'm delighted to be joined by Callum Jamieson. Hello Callum.
All right, Jack.
And the Sun's Irish racing editor Mark Nevin. Nevdog, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm alright.
We've brought the big guns
We've brought in big guns
over
back
from
in
Ireland.
today.
He's flown over especially for the big weekend.
So lads, what are we feeling about this Leger then? Oldest classic in the world, what are we fancying?
I've already nailed my colours to Marcy. I had a piece earlier in the week tipping Sir Ron Precy, so I'm going to have to follow that through. I think it's a pretty ordinary Leger this. I'm not sure Mark Johnston would have even run Sir Ron Precy in many renewals of this over the years. But not much screams out at you like style quality wise. I mean, Logician is the one that could go on and be a serious Group 1 horse, but I can take him on. I think that's almost why I'm going with Sir Ron Precy. He's yet to have any form of battle whatsoever in any of his races. By my count, I could be wrong here, he's only been hit 3 times with the whip in his races so far, which makes you worry slightly. And he hung quite markedly right at York, I think, which went under the radar. I think everyone lost that, but he literally drifted.
Potentially a bit of greenness,
Big
open track.
But exactly, that's why I'm happy to take him on. I mean, I'm probably making more of it than it is, but at those odds, I think I'm entitled to do that.
Take him on.
I still definitely think he's the most likeliest winner, but at those odds that skinny, I think I'm going to look elsewhere. And
So
Sir Ron Precy's up.
Sir Ron Precy.
You want me to go on Sir Ron?
Sell it to us.
I think there's more to this horse than meets the eye. I mean, he's been labelled a typical Johnston Hardy 3-year-old as always, but he's well bred. He's knuckled down to win well once or twice, but he's got some scope, this horse. I think he's not your typical Johnston horse. He's actually quite lightly raced for a horse out of that yard. He's only raced 5 times as a 3-year-old. He's only lost once in that big handicap at Ascot where he's punted off the boards, a ground he didn't like.
I was impressed with him at Goodwood actually last time because I think that filly he beat's actually got a bit of an engine, that promissory.
Yeah.
I think she's a bit of a unit.
I mean, he's still been a tiny bit green as well. He's not. He's sort of the way he carries his head as well. It makes you think there's a bit more in there. He's one of those horses that just does enough each time, I think, and that makes me put. He's already a Group 3 winner. There's not actually many horses in this that have won Group races, and he's going to have condition in his favour. I think the ground's gone in his favour against the likes of Sir Dragonet, Technician, Dash and Willoughby. And I think if this does get tactical, a bit of a bunch finish, I know who I'd want my horse to
What
be
about you,
trained by,
Nevdog? What are you looking at?
You
in
know,
this,
Irish racing editor. Got to go with an Irish
Oh,
horse.
you've got, haven't you? Aidan's got 3 in here.
Well, you don't
Ian,
have to, but
What you fancy of
Sir Dragon, I
Dragon.
just think people have overplayed the fact he got beaten in a Royal Whip. The trip was too short. I mean, he was expected to win, obviously, but he wasn't knocked about when he won his Tipperary Maiden. He looked a stayer. Then he absolutely bolted up in the Chester Vase and went, Derby favourite.
Yep.
And I regard him as a stay. He ran well in the Derby. He showed a bit of pace. He's given a nice mid-season break. It's a bit to be taken on trust, but Ballydoyle always improve.
do you think this was always his target, or do you think he's sort of fallen into it a bit?
I think he's fallen into it a little bit. I think if he won the Royal Whip, he might have been going Arc. So he might have been running in one of the Arc Trails on Sunday. Ballydoyle they always like to run one in this. I think he's got a lot to sort of recommend him. I think he's got a bit of speed. I think the fact Donnacha's on him.
I mean, you just can't forget the win at Chester. Mind blowing.
I think he went a million miles per hour earlier, and he was a little bit flattered.
Yeah.
But tell me if that horse, the way he won that, it's not going to stay an extra couple of films.
I'm in total agreement with you. I think he's actually the best of Aidan's 3. I think obviously Il Paradiso ran really well behind Stradivarius at York last time, but he was getting lumps of weight in it. And he was, not beaten far by 2 horses that don't do a great deal in front, the likes of DXB and Stradivarius. They're both quite lazy types. So getting within a length and a half of them, I'm not actually sure.
I'm far from convinced.
I'm not
about him.
convinced that's actually his true running.
I remember a quote from Aidan, and he said he's a late bloomer, and it wouldn't surprise me if he peaked in the autumn.
I think going forward he'll be a good horse. I'm just not sure now.
I'm
He
not
won
sure
a
if-
handicap off 89 the start for that, and I mean any horse basically in training would have come
What
third.
was
in
it? I
that
think he was
race.
rated 103 or something going into the Lonsdale Cup. He wasn't highly rated, and they've bumped him up like
It's
a stone.
116 now, I think.
I can't. I'm not having it. I don't think he's actually that good.
I mean, the fact he's third favourite in this Leger
Shows how big he
you
is,
that
doesn't it?
this is not a Leger like it has been over the last few years.
I think Sir Dragonet will win. I want to take the
There we
Godstill
go.
on.
What do you think about Logician? You're not convinced? Or?
I think the horse I can't remember who the horse he beat in the Great Vault.
Constantinople.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's it.
He is quirky as they come.
Yeah.
And I think the Great Voltager, it's always the best trial for the Leger. But this year's renewal was pretty
It was a
awful.
nothing race, wasn't it? It was
I mean, a lot of the problem with this season is the 3-year-olds. All the classic winners, none of them have actually kicked on and done anything. So it makes you wonder about the whole
I'm
the
not
class
sure
in
I'm not
itself.
sure it's a
Was
great
it
class,
Hermosa's
big
the only
class.
one that's won a classic that's won another race since, let alone another classic? None of the Derby winners, Oaks winner, none of them have even won
Not a
another
great
race
crop
yet.
this
And
year.
so
I've got to say, I've got to give a word to Technician. He really surprised me in the Jeffrey Freer at Newbury. I didn't think he wanted a slog. I didn't fancy him at all that day, and he outstayed a real mudlark. I was actually quite impressed with him. I think the quicker ground's going to be fine. He's by a Master Craftsman. There's a sire I've got a lot of time for.
shock horror.
Sire of Kingston Hill won this a few years ago. I just really like this Technician. I think he's progressive.
No,
and
I do
think
like
he's
him,
got
yeah.
a good, solid each way
I
chance.
do think the ground is against him though, unlike you. But I also do slightly worry about Martin Mead.
Up and down.
His horses, they're either really healthy and flying, or they seem
Yeah.
to be not well. And
Well,
like
Advertise was
Advertise
sick the
pulled
other
out
day.
the other day.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
It's weird. I don't want to sort of label him like that, but it seems that way the last couple. It's only a recent thing, but it happened last year as well, and it does make you
struggles
wonder.
have a clear run, haven't they?
Mm.
Cool. So let's round it up then. St Ledger picks. What you fancy, Nev?
I think Sir Dragon. I
Dragonet.
think he's got a bit of class. I mean, he could maybe win a blow par Group 1 over 1 mile 4.
Agree, Callum?
Sir Ron Priestley each way. He might not win this, but I'd be shocked if he's sort of out the places. And at the odds that are available earlier in the week, I've jumped on them.
Cool. And I'm going to back Technician. Lovely stuff. Cheers, lads. Okay, one of the other big races on Ledger Day is the Champagne Stakes, the Group 2 for 2-year-olds over 7 furlongs. Only 5 runners here, headed up by Threat. We've also got Juan Alcano in here, Royal Crusade, Fort Myers and Royal Dornock. Small but select field. Nev, I'll come to you first.
I mean, I think Fret's going to obviously be odds on now, so you've got to be confident to get stuck in. But I'm pretty confident that he's going to go really, he's going to go close to winning this. All his forms at 6. He won his maiden over 5. But his dam was by Birdstone, who won the Belmont Stakes. So it is, the dam side stacked
I
for
love a bit of
pedigree.
breeding. I love a bit of breeding.
There's a couple of the slow, like the Royal Crusade. He looked like a pattern class performer on
Did.
debut. But Fret, the way he won the Jim Crow, he was given a proper ride. He got plenty of cover. To go from 6 to 7 on his pedigree, it shouldn't be a problem. The fact that they've decided to run him instead of Mum's Tipple suggests, everything's going great at home.
Yeah, I haven't got much to add to it. He's got a £3 penalty. I can't see that stopping him, to be honest. I mean, Juan Alcano deserves a mention. I think there's more to come from him. He's definitely not the finished product yet. I mean, Threat is by far more, in a way, the more polished and experienced performer. Royal Crusade, won at debut, odds on at Newmarket in those colours always suggest he's a good horse, but I'm not sure he's top of the pecking order at Godolphin. And then Aiden's, I can gloss over there as well. I think they're just sort of running it here, hoping for the small field they might pick something up.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think Threat's obviously going to be hard to beat. I think the threat is, pardon the pun, Juan Elcano. Really like him. I think the yard have been patient with him. Bit green when he was second at Newmarket. They're pulled clear. I don't know how good those in behind were, but I think the front two are pretty smart.
Yep.
I think this has got a nice future, this horse. So, like I said, they've taken it nice and easy. I think he's going to have quite a good autumn, this horse. He could probably do with a bit of juice in the ground, I would have thought, ideally, but I mean, I think he'll be okay on quickish. And like you say, the Godolphin horse, Royal Crusade, they clearly he was punted off the boards, wasn't he, on debut? He went off odds on. Yard have won this with Emotionless.
Bully had his millions on, didn't he?
Bully got the war chest out, the Bully millions, Bully bankers with millions. But yeah, to be honest, Threat, I think it's Threat all day, isn't it? I think he's going to be hard to beat. I mean, he's short, but you're just taking him on for the sake of it, I think. So.
I mean, we could safely say he's a Group 1 performer running in a Group 2. He's got the penalty, but
£3 is nothing, is it?
Yeah, I agree. You in agreement?
Threat for me, yeah.
Sweet. Threat in the Champagne Stakes then. Right, there's a cracking race over at Leopardstown on Saturday as well. It's the Irish Champion Stakes, a Group 1 over 1.25 miles. We've got an absolutely brilliant field in here. And we've brought in the big gun for this, Mark Nevin. He's our Irish racing expert, and we're expecting winners aplenty from you, Nev.
too much pressure. It is a deep renewal, but it could have been better.
Not what we wanted to hear, is it?
I'm a bit
Bigging it
disappointed.
up.
I mean, I'm a bit disappointed that Japan's not running. I mean, wouldn't you have liked to see Japan run against?
What, are they going to go
Magical?
straight to the art?
Apparently so. Yeah.
I guess he's won his Group 1 over that distance now, hasn't he? What,
Yeah,
so-
that's true. Yeah. I mean, getting back to the Irish champion. I mean,
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
I think Magical. I mean, unoriginally. I mean, I don't really want to put the favourite up because it's a bit boring, but I just think she's just very solid. There's only small doubt it's actually quite surprising that O'Brien, he hasn't won this since 2011, which is a bit of a shock.
Well, that is a shock. He's
And
had
I
a few
think
turned over as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, so I think Found finished second a couple of times. I think
Saxon
was it
Warrior last
Churchill?
year.
Churchill,
Australia, and that great race with the Grey Gatsby.
Yeah, great ride by Joseph. Sorry, Joseph.
Ryan Moore. That's Bully's favourite commentary, that one.
Couple of stats. I've looked at the last sort of
Love a
10,
stat.
10 years. It's pretty essential to have won a Group 1 before winning this.
Magical's going to win them.
I think she's the solid one. I mean, she's about 7-4, so it's not telling anyone else that, what they don't already know. But, I mean, quickly going through the others, I think Headman's improving. Charlton won this with Decorated Knight, but it's a big step up for me.
I'll tell you what, this horse just really excites me, though. I think he's properly class. I think Charlton has come out and said he's probably going to be a better horse next year, which I tend to agree with. But I can see him running really well here, because I think he was better than the winning margin in that Group 2 last time. Yeah. He just got up in a very steadily run French race. It's a real ballsy ride from Jason Watson. I think they'll probably go a better gallop here and he'll be held up. And I mean, often they do finish from off the pace at Leopardstown. They swing round the bend. It's quite a stiff finish, and they do often rattle home.
Goes under the radar on this race. This track can throw up some funny results.
There can be some odd results at this meeting. I mean, I know Headman's not exactly a massive price, but I just think he's got so much ability, so much potential. This may just come a tad soon for him, but I'm really excited by this horse. And like you say, Charlton's trained the winner of this before, Decorated Knight, bundles of ability, and I can see him going really well here, actually.
It's definitely probably the race of the weekend again, isn't it? I think it's slightly disappointing renewal, like you said, but I mean, it's been won by Roaring Lion, Decorated Knight, Almonds or Golden Horn in the last 4 years, which shows you that it throws up.
It's a great race.
Proper
It's one of the races of the year, every year,
It falls at the right part of the season, doesn't it, for everything. Yeah. You haven't got many excuses not to run it. There's enough of a gap after Goodwood York, and I mean, Magical, like you said, she's definitely the one to beat, but I think she is there to be shot at, I think, by some of these improving horses. Her form is it's rock solid, and it's not a bad thing when it's Group 1 after Group 1 after Group 1 in the mid to low 120s. That's not like
she's not unbeatable, and her only start at Leopardstown, she was stuffed by Lawrence last year in the matron, so you can pick holes in her.
I just think she's a bit more of a galloper than some of these. And I'm not sure Leopardstown is the thing for that. I mean, I'm nitpicking here again, but at 7-4, I think you're allowed to do that. And I mean, the one for me is Elegant. I think he's coming into this fresh, not fresh, sorry, as in a new horse the last couple of starts. He's improved by the bucket load. I just think there's some big races in him now. Whether he gets his Group 1 now or not, he's definitely got one in him. Hopefully, he'll be back next year. I think at York he just came to life that time when he smashed the Dabe and Regal Reality and that. And he was unlucky in the Jodmont. Whether he would have won, I'm not quite buying that. I don't think he'd have won,
but I mean, he probably would have finished a tad closer.
The way they spoke about it was like he was stuck with nowhere to go. I mean, he was a slight bump on the rail. But I just think he can put good races to bed with that burst, that turn of foot, and I think that's what you need at Leopardstown. But Marks, you're not so sure.
I'm totally the opposite. I think he's probably the most overhyped horse in training.
To be honest, I don't fancy him at all.
His pedigree is probably the best pedigree in racing. Frankel out of Attraction.
Yeah.
I think his York Stakes win, Regal Reality and Adabe, they ran into each other. Everyone was getting each other's way, and he was just flattered.
Race,
The Judmont, it sounds really stupid to say this, but I'm not sure the form's that reliable. I think the right two horses finished first and second.
Yeah.
What you like to see in a Group 1 is, 3 horses go away from the field and stretch out.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a bunch finish, and he was always handy. He was in the perfect position.
I think Crystal Ocean ran below his best as well. He wasn't given the most economic ride. He kicked on a long way out.
I mean, I think there was just no pace in the race. I mean, and I just think he was a little bit flattered to finish third. But he's been supplemented for this race, and they're desperate to get that Group 1 because of his pedigree.
Yeah.
I'm going to have egg on my face, but
one of us is.
I'm in agreement. I don't fancy him at all. I feel like he'd be better on a big galloping track, and it's not necessarily that. It's quite a shot. It's about 2 furlongs, isn't it? The straight at Leopardstown.
Yeah, it's about 2.5 furlongs.
Is it? It seems shorter, but I just don't know if this track's necessarily going to play to his strengths. I think somewhere like York is absolutely ideal for him.
That is the worry, that his 2 big runs all of a sudden have come at
York.
The same track. But I'm in his camp here, and Headman is the other one. But it's basically I'm wanting to take on Magical just because I think something might nab her in this. And Headman is the other one I'd give a massive shout to. I just think, but then again, that French form, it can get found out when they come back over here in the top track.
Obviously, you've got to quickly mention Anthony Van Dyke, Derby hero in here, but he ran an absolutely shocking race in the King George last time. What do we expect from him?
I think he was a forward 3-year-old. The classic crops caught him up. He won well in the Derby. I think the Derby was a good race. I mean, he won well, but I just think he knew a bit more than the others at that time. Obviously, Japan's gone past him.
Yeah.
Mad Moods, the way he ran in the Derby, he suggested 10 would be his optimum.
I think he's interesting. I think you're right. This is his optimum trip. This.
He definitely wants 10. He likes Leopardstown. Obviously, he won the Champion Juvenile here last year. I was a little bit disappointed with him in his trial. It was over a mile, but Chris Hayes had to get stuck into him.
Hard work.
And he was basically against Group 3 horses. I mean, you would have expected a little bit.
Got to give a word to Deirdre as well. Obviously, she caused a massive upset in the Nassau at Goodwood, Japanese filly, ridden by Oisin Murphy. She could go well at a price. Magic Wand and Huntinghorn probably outclassed. Selection then you're going to go for?
I think Magical's just solid.
Magical.
It's a bit boring, but...
Callum?
I'm nowhere near as confident as I was now after I've been shot down by Mark all over the place, but I'm going to stick with Ella Cam.
Okay,
and
Ella Cam.
we'll see who's laughing on Saturday.
Oi, oi. I'm going to go for Headman because I really love this colt.
Got the top three in the market covered.
Yeah, I think he's got a huge engine. So that concludes our Irish Champion Stakes preview. The other Group 1 on the card at Leopardstown is the Matron Stakes, over a mile for fillies and mares. We've got Lawrence and Hermosa in here.
Yes.
A cracking matchup.
Lawrence won probably a stronger renewal last year.
Yeah.
She is hard as nails. She never knows when she's beaten. There was a little bit of doubt early in the season. Was she gone? So, like, fillies, mares can sometimes go off the boil, can't they? I mean, the only doubt is, will Ballydor run a spoiler to try and get her out? But I don't think she needs to lead. Hermosa, all her best runs are when she leads. There's a Ballydor horse here called Happin. She's a big price. She's got a mountain to find on form. But she's got a good record at Leopardstown. And if the front two do cut each other's throat, she's about 25 to 1. She's got a fantastic pedigree. She's a good horse. She's been a bit disappointing for me. But this track brings out the best in her. She won a maiden here. She came second in the Guineas trial earlier in the season. She can't beat the front two on form, but I could just see them cutting each other's throat a little bit, and she could just come storming down. Yeah.
Of the top two in the betting, I think Lawrence is the most solid. Hermosa's got 2 poor runs. Got to put 2 poor runs behind her. I think the run at Ascot was flat. The run at Goodwood was absolutely abysmal. So, I mean, I think Ballydor are in a bit better form now, but I still wouldn't be backing her at shortish prices. Skitter Scatter was a super 2-year-old, but I mean, she's the size of a pony, isn't she? She ran in a Group 3, second in a Group 3 last time. I'm not convinced she'll be good enough. I don't know what you lads think, but at a price, I think Just Wonderful. She's got a first-time hood on, and she looked really exciting coming into this season. She has been a bit disappointing, but again, at a big price, I think she could go pretty well for Ballydor. Callum, what are you?
I think it looks a match on at a glance, obviously, between Hermosa and Lawrence. Few I can rule out, like we've said, Skitter Scatter. She hasn't trained on, I don't think, unfortunately, because she was exciting at the start of the season. Iridessa back in trip, I think she's well held by Hermosa. I'm surprised you haven't mentioned I Can Fly, though. Here we go.
I'm not convinced by this horse at all.
I mean, she's definitely expensive to follow, but she always comes good at this time of the season.
Yeah, she's an autumn filly.
And her run behind Too Darn Hot last time.
She's too up and down, lads. You cannot rely on her
but if
at all.
you get her when she's up.
No, I still don't. I think she's a bit of a dog. I don't think she wants to win.
Oh, wow.
She won the Group 2 on this card last year.
Yep.
When they went a million miles per hour.
Not convinced now.
And she absolutely smashed up. She came second in the Queen Elizabeth Mile, was it?
Yeah, second to Roaring Lion, but she's never done anything to back that up.
And she ran well in Deauville last time out as well. I won't be going mad, but she looks a bit of a big price.
I Can Fly will not win.
I won't rule her out. It's just she's a difficult ride. You know, you have to whisper sweet nothings in her ear. She's got the talent.
Says the new dad.
I was going to say, you've got a lot of experience doing that.
I have, yeah. But all her form seems to sort of peak in the autumn. It all depends on the pace, really. She wants
shot down everything this week, left and right.
Because you're not tipping anything that's got a chance.
Well, we don't know yet, do we?
To round off the matron, then Nev, what you fancy?
Take a big leap of faith with Happin.
Callum?
I Can Fly.
Putting your money down the drain then. I'm going to back Just Wonderful each way. It's obviously a cracking day of weekend of racing. Is there anything else you fancy at Leopardstown, Nev?
Champion Juvenile. There's a horse called Mogul, full brother to Japan. So I mean, he's already
cost
been.
a few, didn't he, Mogul?
Well, our Andy Ayres track man has heard on track that he is the best 2-year-old that Aidan O'Brien has run so far this season. That's the rumour anyway.
No disrespect to Trackman, but he's talking rubbish.
Oh,
Armory's the best Ballydor.
Okay.
But I mean, you're probably running the national stakes on Sunday.
Nothing else for me. What do you want? My best bet for Saturday or just anything?
Best bet for the weekend would be fantastic, please.
I'm going with the money back as a free bet in the St Ledger with Betway. As I've said, I really like Saron Precy, and I think with that special, put those two together, he's my
Yeah.
best bet of the weekend. It makes sense.
Make sure you go to the Betway website to check the T's and C's on that offer. And my best bet of the day is Headman in the Irish Champion Stakes. I think he's a cracking colt with a massive engine. I think he's got a really big chance of Roger Charlton. So thanks for that, lads. Cheers for joining us.
Thank you.
Hope you've enjoyed watching. Best of luck with your bets this weekend, everyone.